what people don't know is that a lot of people that they hire as locals in New York, they're from Baltimore. They're from D.C. They're just getting on the train because they know it's a quick thing. But according to SAG, the Mid-Atlantic region, which includes D.C., Maryland, Virginia, we are the third largest group of SAG actors.
Hello, welcome to the opening scene. Casting isn't just about finding talent. It's about protecting productions, advocating for actors, shaping representation, and quietly making sure nothing falls apart on set. And now, the Oscars are even recognizing its importance with inclusion for achievement in casting. Today's guest is Thea Washington, a casting director based in the DMV who has worked across commercials, television, and major studio productions, including We Own the City, Marvel projects, and a wide range of independent films. In this conversation, Thea breaks down what casting directors really do behind the scenes, the difference between a casting director and talent agents, how budgets and rates can make or break a project, and why representation isn't just a talking point, it's a responsibility. We also talk about self-tapes, industry misconceptions, and what filmmakers need to understand if they want their projects to succeed in today's landscape. This is the opening scene with Thea Washington. Let's get into it. Thea, it is so great to finally meet you, to have you in this chair, to talk with you about all things wisdom from casting, directing, trends, insights. I'm super excited to talk with you.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Before we dive into so much of what you know, the knowledge and the crystal ball that you get to look into to understand this area, I would love to just start with one simple understanding. What is a casting director?
Okay. A casting director can be a lot of things, right? Most people think that we walk down the street and we're like, oh, you got the look. I got a project. I'm going to put you on. But just depending on where you are. So in LA and New York, it's something totally different from our market here in Maryland. In Maryland, I realized that it's not like LA or New York where you could throw a stone and the barista at the coffee shop has a whole resume ready waiting for this moment and all of that. So my team, we are very hands-on of walking you through the process. So not only do we, one, get the project, two, negotiate all of the terms and rates and times and dates and making sure that that works out. We create a portal for the talent that's interested to submit. Then we handcraft these beautiful presentations, and sometimes they include the self-tapes. And then from there, after we do the presentation, we get our final people, and then we might have them come in person for a callback or virtually for a callback. And then we do the offer letters, and then we create the FAQ for that project, because some projects you can't have certain things. You know, you might have, like, a lot of people are into tattooed eyebrows. But for instance, in this project here, back in the day, they didn't have the microbladed brows. So it's like certain things that we have to get through, and we serve as a communication, all things actors to the production. So that way production can worry about its own thing. We create our own call sheets because we don't want the actors calling everybody down there like, hey, it was great working with you. You know, what you got going on? No.
Yeah.
You're going to call us. We're going to cycle everything through us. We track them to set. So we're not stalkers, but we're like, hey, good morning. Don't forget about your shoot today. Have a great shoot. Just so that way nothing gets messed up. Their mind is on it. They're getting ready. They're not wasting time getting out the door.
You just ran down like a whole package that you do when you are enlisted as the casting director for a project, not just like one actor, but the project as a whole. And it's the curious thing about that comes into play when I'm asking you about what a casting director is, but so much what you outlined could also be mixed and possibly tangled up with, like, are you a talent agent at that point? What is the difference to you? Like, what marks that line between, like, nope, that's your talent agent, I'm your casting director?
Okay, so not just to me, but to Casting Society of America and the Talent Agent Association.
There you go.
Talent agents, and if you're looking for one that's accredited and a little more trustworthy and follows the lines, your talent agent, you can look on the National Talent Agent Association or the Managers Association. I think they're combined, but just Google and it'll send you to the right spot. But casting directors, we get paid from productions. Talent agents and managers get paid from the talent. So I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care. I just want the best person for the project. I'm not getting a kickback. I don't care. I just want the best person. So that's a big difference because sometimes people come to me with budgets and think like, okay, this is what we're paying the actors and you take your money out of that. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. And I also have to do all these extra things to get them there. And another thing that people don't know is that on bigger productions, sometimes there are 3 different casting directors. So there might be one that deals with the A-list, B-list talent and deals with their agents and negotiations and the auditions for that. Then there would be whatever city you're in. It's called local casting. So if somebody they just want all the speaking roles and day players and things, which are usually not named people or number
like
1 or 2 on the call sheet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the support. You'll have local casting for that. And then when you see all of these things that aren't computer generated, but it's a whole bunch of people and crowds and scenes, that's background casting. And my company is very far few in between. So we do all of them, not necessarily on the same project, but we do handle all 3. So yeah.
Now, is that split up? I mean, beyond just like the regional, you say if you're working with a Maryland cast background and so forth and so on, you might want to work with a New York casting director if you're doing background in that area. So like the locations might force like us to work with different casting directors.
It can, but there is an amazing casting director. Her name is Alexis Fogel. She did The Wire for many years. She also worked on We Own the City. She did Pose. She did something. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was one of my favorite projects. And I had no idea that she did it. But she can do projects in almost any town, state, country, because she's dealing with like a lot of the A-list talent and the principals is what we call them.
Got you. So is there a reason why that's split up like that sometimes? Like if there's
it's a
one,
lot.
got you. I mean, you did just list a lot.
It's so many moving parts, so many people. Most casting directors don't do as much as we do, but they're usually in New York or LA or Atlanta where there's people are trained, they're ready for this, they moved there for this. Here, I can't let the call sheet go out. We're so anal to the point where if we send out a call sheet, we text you and tell you to respond in writing to it. And then we tell you to call this number, and shout out to Patrick, he's our booker, or myself, just depending on the size. We'll make sure, we want to confirm that you got it, because the client experience, it depends on me. They're not going to say, the AD didn't send out the call sheet, or the AD didn't confirm. No, we do confirms, because everyone is coming to set, and we track them to set. So for some people, that's too much, but my people always show up.
I mean, that sounds like a great thing for especially like an AD or just a production as a whole. You want to make sure that you're paying these people, that you have someone else kind of, for lack of better words, holding their hand to get to make sure that they're there and they're doing the job that they're hired to do. Because it's different if you show up and you missing your day player, you missing your actor, your supporting role, and they're like, I overslept or I just didn't make it. But it sounds like for you all,
we calling you at 5 a.m. If you gotta be to set at 7, we hitting you up at 5. Hey, good morning.
On it.
It's like, yeah, hey, big head text.
I'm curious, you've had the opportunity to work on major studios, major studio productions, smaller scale as well. Is there one lesson that sticks out to you, top of mind, from those major studios that you worked with that you've been able to kind of implement into your day-to-day work now? Yes.
Okay, so there's a project, ironically, that was filmed here in this. It was filmed in DC. It was called, I guess I want to say DC Noir, but basically I was the top. Before I was in casting, I was a stylist. I was signed to the artist agency in DC. I did Cam Newton commercials. I did tons of crime shows, I did magazine covers. Like, I felt like I was the best of the best. However, before you jump into a new arena, which was film, and I just knew I could do this, but there was a learning curve. And I didn't know continuity. Because when we did all of our crime shows, you know, it's like you're filming that whole week and that's the episode, right?
Yeah.
But a movie, you can film day one and the last day at the same, you know, on the same day. So everything has to be right. So when you see those rhymes with Holla Harry, and the wig is shifted a little to here, or this is wrong, like, you have to pay attention to all of those things and you have to document it. And sometimes movies are like 80 days, 90 days. Yeah. So that almost took me out. So working on this project, it was everybody from The Wire. And I just always felt like I was the top of any career that I had, but also not knowing that I could ask for a seasoned stylist to be on a set stylist. Or someone that was on the truck to help prep all the clothes and steam everything. Someone to help, like a shopper. Like, you don't know what you don't know.
And you could act this as a casting director.
No. This is when I was a stylist.
Okay.
But I'm going to bring it into casting.
No, please. Yeah.
So I was understaffed because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I've been killing it with just a small crew. And I also had the learning curve of continuity. So that was the most humbling and most embarrassing thing. But shout out to Donna Adrian, who she was on like a Marvel, a Spike Lee project. She came in and Kyle got her to work with me. And she was like, girl, you did a great job. Like, I don't know how you did this, whatever. And so she's like a head stylist who basically held my hand and walked me through it and showed me the new apps and all of these different things. So from that point, I would always get a consultant, a mentor, and do research. And that's what I took to my casting agency because, I mean, let me tell you, it's nothing more embarrassing than always excelling, but knowing that you messed up and knowing, like, the person, she knows who she is. I was the costume designer, and she put me the next day as a PA. And that was embarrassing. Like, I had to leave, but I had to hold my head up, chin up, but then go to my car and cry and then come back, get myself together. And Donna was so gracious. She could have came in here like, oh, this is a mess. What are you doing? You don't have it? You don't. She was like, no, baby, you don't know what you don't know. And she was the top. And I remember how in my lowest moment, she made me feel, you know, supported, not like a failure, not worse, but like it was going to be okay. And, you know, I love her to this day for that, and that's the approach that I take for other people when they're in their low moments. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the mentors,
the
consultants, and the research. Okay, yes. I love it.
Got to.
Thea, you talked about there's some things from a different approach. From like when you step into your lane, from you were sitting in commercial world, it was this. And then when you start jumping into the studio world, like even from a different role perspective, like there's different nuances you have to learn. But I imagine as a casting director for a commercial, casting director for a TV show, and for a film, there's some nuances. And we can go even deeper into the genres of a documentary, a crime drama, a period piece, that there's some uniqueness that you have to approach each one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Let me start with this simple. What's the difference between a feature film narrative in a feature film documentary when it comes to casting?
I would say a feature film narrative, that's going to take you out. Like, you're not going to see your kids, really. You're going to be a shell of yourself because everything is going to be committed to that. Like, and if you don't have your business structured properly where you can take on other stuff, that's going to be the only thing that I'm not going to say properly, but in a certain way where you can take on other projects. You probably can't because there is so much with features. Like, it is your life, you know, and you wake up, it's like you came up out of the tunnels and daylight and, oh, yes, hi, family, remember me? Like, it's rough. Documentaries, usually when I do feature documentaries, the recre part, which is the recreation where we find the actors that look like the real people, that's usually filmed in like a small window of time. So they've already done all of the interviews and all of those things. So I'm only probably working for like maybe 2 weeks, if that,
Oh, wow.
of filming, maybe 4 at tops. But a feature, it's the pre-production, it's the prepping, it's the outreach. It is all of that. And then it's the changes last minute. You might have 5 changes in a day once you had everybody locked.
How early were we talking? You said about 2 to 4 weeks, possibly for a documentary, but you have for narrative, like it's their pre-production work. Are we talking like, as far as engagement, a few months, like 2 to 4 months of engagement within a project sometimes?
If they got some money. I will say when I did, my favorite was during the Marvel Captain America.
Yeah.
They gave me lots of prep, and I love you guys for that. You're amazing. Call me back, please. They gave me lots of prep, and I wanted it because I knew that the scene that we were casting that was on by the White House, it had to look a certain way. And they had to fit a certain size. And this isn't just like bring everybody. This is like we want some cut people. And yeah, so for those scenes, I was like, I'm going to need extra time. I just can't throw you anybody. So that was cool.
You talked about the ability for you to be even take on multiple projects, or whether it be one feature in a documentary, or just like the multitude of work that you're able to bring on. You have to have your business in a structure to be able to do that. You don't need to reveal any secrets because we want to make sure that you get the business and you keep the business. But is there a unique approach, or is there one fundamental thing when you talk about your business has to have X in order to take on these multiple projects that you want to speak to?
Well, first they got to know about you. And a lot of time, like when I first came in, most people just worked on features, or they worked in theater, or they just mainly did commercials. And I thought that was crazy. I'm like, wait, you should do all of it. And then I found my Achilles heel, that humbling moment. I was like, oh, well, let me just perfect what I know. But if I do get something that's outside of my wheelhouse, I will reach out to somebody that's done that before, do some research, make sure that the rates are fair for that market, because a lot of times, we get paid the most in pharmaceutical. Yes.
For casting?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
And actors.
Commercial-wise?
Commercial, campaign-wise, right? So if I'm charging them what an indie commercial is charging, or like a local regional commercial, I'm messing up the game, because they're going to be like, well, Thea's the top casting director. She only charged me this. No, I'm doing my research to see what's what, because they're going to give you what you asked for, right? And they might even try to negotiate you down. But if you have no idea of how much something pays, you can mess up the market. And the same thing for features versus commercials. And commercials are very well paying, but an international commercial is really great paying.
It's like a couple more stacks on top of that one, right?
Yeah, and for the actor, like just making sure you're not shorting the actors. Like you have to do your research, and we don't always have a blueprint for this. So, ask around, do stuff,
It's interesting to hear you talk about the rates, and I think about like the oversaturation of, say, like video producers or just filmmakers in general, the creative. And when you say like, I could do this photo shoot or this video shoot for $500 when it used to be $2,000, like once someone hears, oh, he's really good, he could do it for $500, you start watering down the rate for everyone now, and it makes it tougher for everyone else to survive. So
you mess up the economy.
Is massive.
Yeah, you mess up the economy, and then you also burn yourself out because after a while, $500 for, let's say, $10,000 worth of work, because $2,000, I don't know, but $500 for $10,000 worth of work, you're gonna burn out. It's not worth it for you. Like, you don't understand why the rate is like that. And then sometimes, like, I was negotiating a project and they went with cheap, and I had to tell them, because they always come back. Yes, y'all do. But they went with a cheaper and experienced person who isn't the most ethical, right? And they didn't do the best job. And they called me like, hey, we can carve out some money for you to work on this and do that. And I was like, cheap costs too much. No, because if I save the day, this person still looks like,
that they
they're
came through.
legit.
Yeah.
Like, they came through. Nobody's going to know that I'm on this project, and I don't want to touch anything that went with them. And then the mess that I was cleaning up, that's not fair to me and my team. So, sorry.
You bring something up that's interesting in that, like, something that directors or producers might misunderstand about the engagement with the casting director. Is there a common through line that you found that you have to educate them on?
Yes. And sometimes they don't want to hear it. But I'm like, you want to hear this because I'm going to help you, one, save money, save time, and not make mistakes. Like, I'm very invested in your project because, one, I want you to come back. I want you to film here. I want you to hire me again. And I want you to know, like, look, I exist. Like, you can worry about your locations, the script. You can worry about all these things. But anything that has to deal with an actor, just know that I'm taking care of it. And a lot of casting directors be like, Thea, you doing too much. But I'm like, y'all in LA, y'all got it easy. But we handle everything. So, yeah.
What is, like, a one thing, a through line that you feel that directors or producers missed then?
I think not knowing the difference between casting and talent agents.
Okay.
So talent agents, they just give you what they have, like photos of who they represent, and they represent some amazing people, right? But casting, I always say, is like painting the whole entire picture. So I can use some crayons, I can use some watercolors, I can use this, I can pull from here. So I can pull from agents, I can pull from different sites, I can pull from my database, I can pull from all of these things. But talent agents are only supposed to pull from who they represent that might fit. And they only get paid if you select their people. Me, I'm getting paid regardless because I'm going to find you 5 of the top best of whatever you're looking for, have all the details, the information, and all that there. Yeah.
You were talking about you want them to come back. So you go above and beyond. You do the right work. Like, you knock it out the park. Let's talk about one project in particular that's filmed here that you worked on. Let's call HBO We Own the City.
Oh. Hey, y'all.
That's a interesting response there.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some stories behind that. Ooh.
A lot. You need a whole series on that. I'll bring them all in. Yes.
I want to ask, let's ask one question to possibly pull out one story. How did you help keep that authentic as far as representation on screen?
Oh, my goodness. Shout out to everybody that worked on that. So We Own the City was from the creators of The Wire. So that's Nina, that's Mr. Burns, that's and I call him Mr. Burns because he taught at my high school. And I have been trying to find him and work with him ever since high school. But Nina, Mr. Burns, David Simon, who's an amazing writer, and my favorite writer, who happens to be my friend, but I think he would still be my favorite writer if he wasn't my friend. Him and his beautiful wife, I love them. D. Watkins. He wrote episode 3. And D is a 6-time New York best-selling author.
Congratulations.
Read Black Boy Smile if you haven't.
I will.
It is like you're a black boy. Like, even listen to the audio. Like, it's so beautiful the way it's broken down, and it's based on a true story.
Okay.
And it talks about their love story as well. Like, it's so dope. But he is one of my favorite writers, and he don't ask me for nothing, right? And he was like, there is a character in my episode named Young Moose, which is a real person. The real cops really like harassed this guy. He's a rapper, and he was about to blow up in real life. And every time he would like go on stage, they would come arrest him. They harassed his mother. They kicked in his doors. Like, they just kept coming after him. And Dee was like, I just want you to get Moose for this role. And I was like, okay. He'll ask me for nothing. So I'm like a sergeant. Like, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to go find him. And, we kind of like bumped heads. Like, we wilding each other out when we first meet each other. Like, it was just, it was interesting, right? But we developed like almost like a friendship. This is Young Moose, the rapper or whatever. And I'm like, yo, you don't want someone else to play you. You don't want no, like, you're kind of like a Tupac in this. You don't want nobody like a Carlton Banks playing you. You know, you have to do this. I said, unfortunately, you still have to get the approval of the network and the other writers and producers and things like that. So we're going to practice. So we'd be practicing on like FaceTime, getting his stuff right. But one thing about Young Moose is he's brilliant. And I don't know if you know, Kanye came out like that's his favorite rapper.
No, I did not know
You,
that.
you should pull a clip.
Okay.
Like, it's wild. But he seems like just like a regular YN or young nephew, right? But he is so brilliant. Like, he knew his role to a T.
Yeah.
Like, he knew how to put the inflections and all. Like, he lived this. But it's one thing when these words and you like bring them to life on screen and you're not like being awkward on camera. Like, even extras be awkward. You know what I'm saying? But he killed it so bad that I think D said that David Simon was like, wait, where did he study? So
there you go. Study with Thea Washington.
School of the Hard Knocks. I couldn't teach him all that. Like, but I think his photographic memory and just his instincts as a rapper, as a rapper and an actor, just like killed it. So that is one story on how we kept it very authentic. So it's the real Young Moose playing Young Moose, episode 3.
Shout out. I love it.
Yeah.
You were talking about some of the conversations you have with, say, writers, but then also I assume you have some conversations with directors when it comes to casting the right, I don't know if it's the right person, the right type of person. What are those types of conversations like when they say, hey, we want this person, and you might have a different approach. You might say, I don't think that's the right person. How does that really go? When you, as the casting director, have to kind of give your own influence or your own thoughts behind it?
Oh, that's a good question. Because sometimes casting directors, like sometimes we will get orders and we'll make it happen, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes we use our creative agency and we use our eyes, our lens. Like, we are people, we are creatives, we are a part of the vision. Like, everybody makes it go through. Mm-hmm. And everybody makes a project happen equally. However, sometimes, especially early in my career, I had to learn when to speak up, right? And when to choose my battles. Like, I could be like, oh, that's whack, this whack, da-da-da, you know? But earlier in my career, before it was Black Lives Matter, before it was diversity, equity, inclusion, before all of those things were a thing, I'd be like, hey, why is this person... Why is the judge white? Why is the doctor white? Why is the lawyer white? Why is the whole jury white? Why, like, do we have some photographic evidence to who these people were? Are we showing them in the script, especially like on the crime shows before they were cool? But I'm like, yo, it's some Black people in this town. So if we aren't like directly correlating with real actual people, let's change this up some. Let's make somebody a woman, you know? Like, or I had somebody say to me, find me somebody that looks like a criminal.
Ooh.
And I'm like, what the hell that mean? You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm gonna give you I don't want to get canceled. I ain't gonna say what I want to say.
But you had different thoughts.
I had different thoughts.
Yeah.
Because, like, we have these people that are in positions of power that are abusing the power and abusing people. So, yeah.
There's been plenty of times where you've had to execute your own creative agency, like have your own thoughts and words into it. Influence.
Not execute, but challenge.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, it's a fine line and you want to make sure you're not taking them off of that. But sometimes, you know, when you don't have a lot of Black people on your team, there are certain things, like if everybody's light skinned, a white person might not notice that, right? Or if everybody's like biracial and it's like 2 Black parents, like, hey, can we get somebody, you know what I'm saying? Somebody, whatever. Like, it's certain things that people don't know, and your casting director is your friend to help you see those things, you know?
I was going to phrase this question thinking about what's in this area as far as talent. And obviously, you don't just work in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. You have tentacles in different places for sure that you're able to tap into to pull talent. But when producers, directors, or productions come here and they're saying they're looking for a certain type, certain look, and they can't find it.
Because they didn't hire me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look at that sales pitch right there. I love that.
No, I'm dead serious because like we know, like I'm out in these streets. Like I'm in these areas. I come to the schools. I go everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I find my person. I don't just go on a site or just go to one or two agents. Like I have a huge database because I've been casting every type of thing you can think of, from reality, whatever. So I know these people exist. Also, what people don't know is that a lot of people that they hire as locals in New York, they're from Baltimore. They're from DC. They're just getting on the train because they know it's a quick thing. But according to SAG, the Mid-Atlantic region, which includes DC, Maryland, Virginia, we are the third largest group of SAG actors. So I think LA or New York is number one. Don't quote me. But we're definitely number 3.
We're in the competition.
Yeah.
We're in the running for it, though. That's the beautiful thing. So for you, it's not really a diagnosis of like, oh, you just didn't look in this right area when someone comes to you. Got you.
No. Not at all.
You know the talent pool is deep.
I know the talent pool is deep. And I know, like, so for instance, it's this casting director that will, not this, there are casting directors, some that have the luxury of only casting a homogenous world, and that's not the real world. I can't be a black casting director and only know black people. I have to know white, the different, Polynesian, Japanese, and multiracial, East Indian. I have to know everything if I'm going to call myself a casting director.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Through and through. You were talking a little bit about the talent pool. And I'm curious, I was having this conversation with my wife recently, and we were looking at how casting, just off from the, on the outskirts, not really knowing the inner workings of it all, how it kind of comes together. We were looking back at shows that used to cast like the artists, the entertainers. It used to be their platform to perform new music or to get on to stay relevant.
Are you talking about like New York Undercover?
No, we were watching Different World.
Oh, okay.
And so we were looking at how like there's these massive groups and bands. We're thinking about the Jamie Foxx show. We're thinking about how people come in and out of these roles who like they could be really good at the role, but it also could just be like there's no other place for them to showcase their talent. And so like those are the types of shows, especially in black communities, are like we're gonna put you on. You're an entertainer, but you can't get a spot somewhere else. Don't worry, come to this show. We got you. And so we started thinking about like what is it like now as far as when it comes to casting. And for some reason we started to think, is the entertainer slot being replaced by like just the influencer slot. And in regards to the talent is very different. As far as are they good for that role, or because they have a different following? They have a massive following online, and so because they have that following, we feel like we should cast them, even if it doesn't necessarily fit for that role. And so I'm curious, how often do you possibly run into that situation where there might be a production saying, hey, we want you to cast this person, and it's really based off of the following they have as opposed to the talent that they have?
I would say never.
Good.
Because you have if you're an independent project, I definitely recommend going with people that have a following, that are trying to get into acting. That's something that you can leverage, right? But just because they have a following, it doesn't mean that they can act. And I feel like this is a cycle that happens because back in the day, I remember everybody was pissed that rappers started getting in, taking away the acting roles because they realized they were getting butts in the seats, right? So they just started getting that. So Tracy, an amazing casting director, she is like the godmother of hip hop. She was the coach for Busta Rhymes and I want to say Tupac and Queen Latifah, all of those things. I'll connect you with her. She's so dope. She's in New York. But she was the godmother of teaching them how to actually act. And now Queen Latifah, she killing it, right?
Every movie.
So, yeah, I definitely think it's that. And then have you ever tried to book an influencer for anything?
Me personally, no.
Okay, because they're going to be like, oh, you can talk to my agent and my manager, and they're like, what is the usage and how long will I be on set? And then what are the promotions? Oh, you want me to promote this? It's going to be extra money, blah, blah, blah.
Sounds
So
like
good luck
Yeah.
getting that influencer. But if you know that they have something, you can find a little spot for them or whatever. If you know that they're going to show up and promote it and want to be a part and they have aspirations for acting, that might be your leverage right there.
Okay.
In that sense.
I love that.
Yeah.
Are you, speaking of actors and like being replaced by whether it be entertainers, influencers, like, are you concerned about AI when it comes to replacing certain actors?
No. Shout out to SAG for putting the hammer down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no AI actors. But it's like, I feel and hope that this brings, like, and I'm not trying to fantasize about the 90s and act like it was just oldest thing, right? But it really was a different time. Like, actors now, like some of your favorite actors, they have reputations of being being jerks or whatever. But back in the 90s, when I would meet celebrities, they would be like movie stars, like, hey, and they would sign stuff and just have like almost like a bubble of like magical fairy dust and like decorum and know how to handle themselves a certain way in front of stuff. And I think that social media kind of ruined that because it was like a mystery behind it, right? Now we see what they drink, they eat, what their baby father did and what he didn't do. And we see, like, we don't have that delineation. So maybe, and it was almost like a magical thing to meet an actor or a rapper or whoever. And now I know too much about you. I know your whole pH balance. Like, y'all just put too much stuff out there. So hopefully with them seeing this small threat to where they are, they can know that they are, it's a privilege to be where you are. It's a privilege to have fans. It's a privilege. Like, I can't imagine all these people supporting me in my career and me being a jerk to them because they want to take a picture. So you can Google to figure out what it is. All right.
Sounds very specific just now.
They didn't do that to me.
No, but you saw it.
No,
it's out there.
It's a whole reel of stuff about certain actors that do that.
I'm going to Google it now for sure. I want to bring it back to just the DMV area. Again, as I started this conversation, I believe casting directors have like this crystal ball that they get to look into because they are being contacted for productions that are coming when they start sourcing talent and figuring out what's going to be here. And so I'm curious, what do you see, without any spoilers, I'm not going to force you to say any spoilers, but what do you see as projects that you're excited about coming to the DMV area from a casting perspective? Okay, so I wish I did have a crystal ball, but my crystal balls are PAs on set, right? Because that's my marketing and promotion. It's their first day. I'm like, do you need any help, any questions, whatever? Just being a natural human. And that's the fastest pipeline to a producer or whatever, because eventually their next project, they're probably a producer or they're whatever. So my old PAs or PAs that are on set, they usually hire me. And they are so brilliant and smart because they're in, the museum space. They're in new electronic space, video games and things, and they're referring me. Or if they're not referring me, they're hiring me. And that happens a lot. And I'm always surprised. Sometimes I remember exactly who it is, and sometimes I'm like, thank you. And also the locations guys, like, they always refer me. So that's a lot. And then being online, I fell off a little bit, but that would help people find me and, reach out to me about certain things. But what I see happening is, now that the government shutdown is over, yes. Back to work?
Yes. It's a lot of government agencies reaching out for media and museums. It's a lot of museum work. There is a lot of independent stuff that's happening that's not terrible. That's actually amazing.
It's a shift?
Yes.
Good.
Everything doesn't look like bad or have terrible dialogue, because what's happening is a lot of the big filmmakers are sick of waiting for the big studios, and they're like, we're going to make our own, and I'm going to get my friends, and we're going to make it happen, and we're going to make some good stuff. And people are wanting to make this art and something that they're passionate about and they love. So I think shout out to Baltimoreans, Jay Duplass, Michael Strassner, beautiful project, you know. Even the DP, he killed it by showing all of these beautiful things in Baltimore, like landmarks. Like every scene is like a beautiful kiss to Baltimore.
That's a review for you right there.
Yeah, it really is. Like even the Key Bridge that no longer exists, it's in one of the most beautiful scenes in there. And the way they shot it, it was is John. John is John Bregel. He's phenomenal DP. And Jay Duplass, he's like movie star. You can Google him.
Oh yeah.
You know who he? Okay.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, or Senior is a project. I think it comes out soon. It's a feature I worked on, and every time I watch it, it just guts me. Like it is so good. It's independent. We rubbed together a couple nickels, and that is when I kind of put my voice first. I actually have footage of him saying at the film festival that I was like, no, this is your kid. He's like, I want to look at other people. Okay, you can, but this is your kid. So the kid was Donnell Jones.
Okay.
Like, no relation. But Donnell Jones, I saw something in him so early, and now he's playing the younger version of Will Smith on Bel Air. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it comes out November 24th, and he'll be featured. He's in the reel for that, but I saw him first.
Congratulations. Absolutely. The breakthrough successes.
Yeah. But I was like, yo, this kid is this kid. Like, I read it and I saw him, and the way he acts, I can't wait till Senior comes out. But we're right now, I think it's just doing viewings at film festivals. But it is like, it gutted me.
I believe I've actually talked to someone who worked on Senior.
Toros Thomas, maybe?
No,
the director?
Last year, I think I talked to, are you familiar with Logan Renee?
Yes, Logan. She's
I
amazing.
believe she worked
Wardrobe.
on that. Yes. She
Yeah.
mentioned Senior. I was like, that sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
She was telling me her story about what she had to go through to, as you said, rubbing nickels together to make that project work, from the wardrobe parts of it all.
She's amazing.
She is.
And she's a mommy.
She is.
So I'm always rooting for her.
You mentioned Baltimore Rons and just different projects in this area. I'm curious, like, what you feel like this culture or this region really brings, and how influenced these projects are in this area.
Wait, how? Say that again. I'm sorry.
How do you believe like this region's culture and demographics influences the projects that come in this area?
I don't know. I think maybe with the legacy of The Wire,
Okay.
people know that they can get all the different looks. You can get a courthouse. You can get, you can get anything that you want as far as looks wise, for your set. And then as far as talent, like, we got everything. You know, we're so close. And my favorite thing to talk about is like the history of Baltimore because of its proximity. So DC is like an hour from Baltimore. Virginia, certain parts are like an hour. Pennsylvania, certain parts are an hour. So you can pull from all of these talent pools if you film in Baltimore or Maryland, and you can get all these different looks in Maryland. And you can also get a tax credit. So, hey, there's that.
I feel like I want to talk with you about that tax credit.
Okay.
You've mentioned it a couple of times now, and you're very familiar with it, I assume.
I'm familiar-ish. I feel like it needs to be more comprehensive because they are working on some materials so that filmmakers know that you can get money back from your production. Save your receipts. Did you film in Maryland? You know, and they are making it so that even independent and student films and all of those things can get money back. But every state has a tax credit where you can basically have an incentive for filming there. And also every state has a film office. Not everybody knows that is federally funded by your tax dollars. So call them people up. Tell them what you need. Tell them what you're working on. Ask them what's coming, what you got. Can you walk me through this? you know, reach out. Like every project, you know, well, some of them ain't deserving because I didn't see. We ain't got to talk about that, but just about every project deserves, you know, to be made and to have help and support. You don't have to do this alone.
What does success look like to you for representation?
Representation in productions?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's a slave. We ain't got to fight. The black woman ain't got to be punished by her man because she worked hard. And all my life I had to fight. And I don't want the light-skinned king saving me at the end. Well, saving them at the end. Like, I just want some diversity in characters and not just the same struggle stories. Like, you know, there were freed. Maryland was the home of the most freed blacks at one point, right? They were never enslaved and they lived there. Like, I want to hear about those people. I also, Maryland was where Frederick Douglass lived. Mm-hmm. He lived in Harbor East / Fed Hill, and he was a slave that read. And so basically, I'll go back. He was a slave that was able to read, and he would read at the church, and he was fine with that, right? But then he saw this lady one day and thought she was beautiful, and she was a freed black, and she was like, "Oh no, I don't date slaves. You're gonna have to go get free." And so she put him on the B&O Railroad up north, got him free, smuggled him in the uniform or whatever, brought him back. And people think that Frederick Douglass was poor. He was not. He was the first influencer. He was one of the first Airbnb people because he was an orator. So if anyone had an idea, they would pay him and he would speak about it and get the idea out there before social media. He also had a caulking company at the harbor, and he freed a lot of slaves by doing the same rinse and repeat. And he owned 5 buildings in Harbor East / Fed Hill, which is a prominent area.
So you're like, where are these stories?
Where are these stories?
Yeah.
Why we always got to be enslaved? You know, why we always got to be the help? You was kind. It's
You's
like,
important.
You's important, you know? I want to see us, you know, running amok. Like, I want to see stories just like, well, Wait Until Exhale, we was suffering, but they were so beautiful. You know, they were fine and fabulous. Movies like that.
Yeah.
I want to see that again. Love Jones and Inkwell. Like, I want to see those movies. Boomerang. Like, everybody was in there. Fly. And I'm like, where did we go wrong? Like, I used to be so excited for features. Now I can see when a hairline move. I can see, you know, I want quality again for black productions. And there are a lot. Trust and believe. Like, shout out to Higher Ground, Rustin. I worked on that. But we was overcoming in that, so that doesn't. And all of that
but
is
important.
But it
tells it from a different perspective a little bit. So it's still kind of the struggle, but you see it from a different note as well. And so it gives opportunity for a different type of story to get out.
Yes, it does, because
it might not be the exact story you're looking for.
Yes, I mean, I guess, yeah, but I want more of that high quality black love and just different tropes. I'm sick of the same stuff. It's like, if it's a slave movie, they're going to greenlight it so quick. And it's almost like, I've realized when I was working on We Own the City that your body doesn't know the difference between experiencing something and watching something. We had therapists on set that told us, like, you can be traumatized. Like, when you watch a scary movie, that's why the bumps come on, you know, the bumps on your arm come up, because your psyche doesn't know if it's real or you're just watching it. So I feel like, in a way, it's re-traumatizing us and putting us in our place. And I want some liberation. I want some motivation. I don't want to come out sad.
But not the same Harriet Tubman liberation. Like, we've seen it so many different times. I continue to find different ways to show that spirit of liberation through those different ways. I feel like that's what you're also saying too. Like, don't be so repetitive with the same stories.
Yeah. Show me liberation. Show me show me something else. Yeah. Yeah.
Be diverse.
Yeah. And quality.
There you go. That's the big thing.
Yes.
One quick question for you. What does a great self-tape look like to you?
Okay. Couple quick notes. Make sure you clean your screen or your phone, whatever you're on, because that will take it up a whole bunch of notches, right? Number two, the person that you're reading with, make sure your reader is not in frame with you. We barely know you, so y'all not making a scene, you know? Make sure if you use your mama as a reader, make sure she can read, because some of y'all mamas be hilarious, okay? Hilarious. And y'all be trying to stay in character and all of that, but make sure your mama can read good. Make sure that's her calling. Or maybe get your daddy, your cousin, somebody else. But some of y'all mamas, okay. And then make sure it's nothing distracting behind you and nothing that can kind of like disqualify you for the role. So that, and do as much research as you can about the character, and say your name before and when you end. Because we're looking at so many videos, we don't want to have to, you know. So there's that. That's what I got.
I love it.
Okay.
Why is filmmaking important to you?
That's how I eat. That's how I pay my bills. That's how I take care of my baby, you know? But no, filmmaking, we are so blessed to do what we love in the city that we love. And it is the top crews in Maryland. Like, of course, we always shout out The Wire. We own the city. House of Cards, Veep. Most of those crew were from Maryland, the Maryland, D.C. area. So to do what you love and to be paid well for it and be able to kiss your kids at night, it's a blessing. It's beautiful. So, yeah. Okay, can I give a shout out to my son, Bruce Wayne?
Absolutely.
And my boo, Bo. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Thea. This has been fun.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.